Jarrod Bowen. Let's discuss about Jarrod Bowen. Yeah, Jarrod Bowen has been linked to Chelsea. When I first heard the news, I'm like, I actually didn't know what to think. I'm like, is this the right thing? Is this, are we trying to take advantage? Is this the normal thing that we are supposed to be doing? I have a whole lot of questions in my head. Is this going to work? How would this Jarrod Bowen? How much is it going to cost when it comes into the club? Where is he going to play? There are a whole lot of questions that just kept on going around my head. And I'm like, all right, you just need to calm down. And then I went to do some analysis about Jarrod Bowen. So that analysis is what I'm going to share in this part. Yeah. So firstly, Jarrod Bowen is 29 years old. Is a right winger, and a right winger who can play touching the line and also who can play in the inside 10. I is off. Let's look at his profile here. So we should talk about his off the ball runs. I think is a player who likes to run without the ball and also run with the ball. And run without the ball basically means when he finds out that his player has spotted him and then he's looking at space in behind, is that kind of player who takes the initiative to initiate the run straight up and then receive the ball later after he has started the run. So he's not the guy who he looks at his player and then his player has to give him signal before he takes off. He's the kind of guy that when he sees, oh, this is my player, he has gotten into a free position, he has taken off and then he receives the ball later. And also running in behind when and they still talk about the off the ball running in behind when he sees that, oh, now we are seeing space and I'm seeing space behind these defenders, is the guy who either vertically, either diagonally, or whatever way you want to put it, he just makes sure he takes the run and then receive the ball in there. And also, he's good on the ball. Yeah, Jarrod Bowen is good on the ball. Yeah, he's that kind of guy who has a good progressive carry. Yeah, so he's a guy who, when he gets the ball, he can shift the ball from either the middle phase, sometimes even from the defensive third, because you look at the build up that he has as a professional player coming from the championship to West Ham, I think around 2019, David Moyes bought him. So you look at the coach that he's playing under and he thrives so much under. He's a counter-attacking coach, David Moyes, until now at Everton where he starts to play possession-based kind of football. But at those points in West Ham, he's a counter-attacking coach. So he uses Jarrod Bowen as that guy who is the focal point. When they steal the ball at the back, find it to Jarrod Bowen wherever he is, whether he's still in the defensive phase or he's in the middle phase or he's in the final third. Find the ball to him and let him carry the ball up front. So you look at his progressive career. I think when you start working in that kind of a setting, you become really better and better at doing that kind of thing. So I think his progressive career is just so good. His progressive career is very, very good. And when he carries the ball, he's not the flary kind of guy who wants to throw leg overs, do skills to beat his player. He beats his player by taking them on by speed, or sometimes it can be nutmeg, or sometimes shifting them to one side and then going back to their blind side. So his progressive carry coupled with his kind of dribble, I think it makes him a very successful ball carrier. And it's very direct, looking at his profile generally, Jarrod Bowen is a direct player, not the kind of guy who wants to beat around the bush. Sometimes he gets the ball and now you see Jarrod Bowen bumping into three players. Very, very direct-minded kind of player. And one of the things that stand out for Jarrod Bowen is his work rates. Everybody can attest to that. If you watch West Ham or if you watch Jarrod Bowen specifically, he is a relentless runner. And you see that in the way he supports the defense. And even when he's supporting the defense, when the ball moves into a transition mode or into a counter-attacking mode, he's not going to sit back and feel like, oh, I just made a run, let me come. He's following them to do those kind of things. And I've even seen a couple of situations where sometimes he's expecting to get a pass. The pass does not get there. They made a pass the second time, it does not get there. That thing will not stop Jarrod Bowen for still going for the third one. He's a relentless worker. He is a workaholic. He works like somebody who is high on something. And also he's a press machine, still in the same box as somebody who has a superb work rate. He's a press machine. Is when they started playing under Postecoglou and Espirito, you see like, okay, when they set up in a particular shape, Jarrod Bowen is that guy who initiates the press and then the other guys follow. And sometimes it might not even be a unit press. Sometimes it might just be a pressure from him alone, and then he just pumps into this thing and then he chases the guys down and win the ball and start creating something out of it. And lastly, one of the things that I admire so much about Jarrod Bowen is his relationship with the players. Yeah, you look at how much he combines very well with other players. You look at him with Antonio, very superb relationship. Antonio being the target man, drops the ball for Jarrod Bowen, and Jarrod Bowen goes on to do something with the ball. Or him and Sufao, somebody who plays from the right hand side, then gets the ball, move forward, square play, all of this kind of things. So this is just building the guy's profile, knowing who he is. And now let's look at how Stats backs this guy up. Yeah. As an attacker in the Premier League, you want to see a couple of things and know, okay, well, what kind of a player is this? Firstly, to bust everybody's mind, I didn't actually check it. I used to watch this guy, but I didn't actually look into that stats. One thing that I found out is in Jarrod Bowen's last 7 seasons, and he has played 7 seasons in the Premier League. In his last 7 seasons, he has averaged 20 goals and assists per season. 20 goals and assists per season. That's a very massive start for me, I would say, because rare are guys that you go on to see like their GA per season is 20, playing for a West Ham side who relies majorly on counter attack. How do you get to always do that? 20 in this last season, he had 13 assists and 9 goals. That's 21 goal and assist in a season where his club relegated. I think that's massive for me. And now let's now look at other stats, because this one is just goals and assists. Let's look at other stats and see how his profile plays football. Yeah, so first thing, I would say one of the things that I saw that I like so much in this guy is his offensive reception in final third. An offensive reception in final third basically means a player who receives the ball in the final third, in the opponent's defensive face of the pitch. So that's like the last share of the pitch. He ranks third in the Premier League. I think he was beaten by Morgan Rogers and one other person, but he is third in that metric. So that tells you he's a player who is a dominant attack. He always wants to collect the ball whenever he is in the opponent's face. And when you get, I don't want to look at this kind of stats in isolation. So when you get the ball in that place, like you're getting it at an heavy amount, what are you doing with the ball? So we go on to look at his shot at goal. And shot at goal basically means any attempt with the intention to score. So it can be shot on target, it can be block shot, it can be shot off target, and all of those kind of things. He ranks number 12 in shots at goal. So as much as he's receiving the ball in the opponent's face, he's also doing things with it. And when it comes to shot on goal, that's shot on target, he ranks 6th. So he gets the ball in the opponent's defensive third. He tries to play a whole lot of shot, and he ranks number 12 there. And then he ranks number 6 in shots on target in the Premier League. And also, you're now looking at goals by long distance. He's number 40 in goals by long distance. That tells you that, and I'm speaking about this is in context of last season. He tries to take shots from long distance. He's not the guy who wants to always get into the box before he does something with the ball. So from long distance, he ranks number 40. From mid-range shots, he ranks number 26. So when it gets the ball in this kind, and when you're talking about mid-range shots, the yard is 18 yard to 27 yard. And 18 yard basically means in the zone 14, in front of the box. So when it gets the ball in those kind of zone, is instinctively wired to take a direct shot to the goal. And in the last season, he scored 4 goals from mid-range shots. That's shots from outside of the box. Let me say 5 goals, some long range, 1 long range, and 4 mid range, which is outside of the box. 5 goals out of his 9 that he scored in the Premier League was from outside of the box. And also, we look at one of the things that I see is his goals by close range action. That means in his 6-yard box. In this last season, it was nowhere to be found. And that basically tells you he's relying more on instinct to score goals. So when he gets the ball from that outside, he does not necessarily need to get very close to the goalkeeper to score. He majorly will just do what he does from where he gets the ball, or just take one shot to get into the box 18, and then it tears his shot direct. Yeah. So and another thing that we look at here is his initiating of dangerous attack. He ranks number 46 of the players in the Premier League who initiates dangerous attacks. And another one is offensive touches in attacking transition. So he's always that guy who, like I said earlier, David Moyes, when it comes to counter-attacking or transition-based football that you see under Moyes and you see under Espirito at West Ham, Jarrod Bowen is the focal point. When they get the ball, they need to get the ball to him, because he can either progressively carry it or carry it into the final third and create an assist out of it, or create a pre-assist out of it. So these are stats that sums up how this guy is as an attacker in the Premier League. Now let's see how he fits into Chelsea. Let's see if Chelsea eventually buys him. Let's see how he fits. I think first thing we need to consider is his price tag. I think we should not be buying Jarrod Bowen, given the fact that Brighton is not even in the Premier. West Ham is not even in the Premier League anymore. We should not be buying Jarrod Bowen anything more than 35 to 40 million. That's more than enough. Don't go ahead. Don't go above 40, 45. They are in a desperate situation. They are in the championship. It will be logical for him to want to leave, because he's almost at the end of his career. He needs to get something to his book. All he has is just a Conference League. But I think if he gets the opportunity that Chelsea eventually makes a formal bid, I think he should jump on it, and that would be good for him and good for West Ham, that they can get a 40 million on a 29-year-old player. Yeah, so first part. Second part is, how does he fit into the Chelsea system? Firstly, he plays as he can play one of the inside forward, and inside that place, what you have is Kopama and Estevao, but somebody like Kopama can easily be shifted to the left hand side, because Kopama is a free player. He roams that place horizontally. He just keeps moving around, and Kopama needs that freedom. You don't want to stereotype him to one place. You want him to be able to just keep moving around. So if you have somebody like Jarrod Bowen, who, when you look at that start of one of the third player or the third best player who receives the ball in the opposition offensive third, like defensive third, okay, that's good for somebody. That shows that he operates in the pockets. Yeah, so he operates in that part of the play. So, he can play as one of the 10s. And one of the things that he brings is, because he has played in that kind of a situation under Lopetegui, under Graham Potter, he played as an inside 10 in a 3-4-2-1 formation. And sometimes under Nuno Espirito, you see Nuno Espirito play 3-4-2-1, and Jarrod Bowen is playing as an inside 10, so that somebody like Bissaka can run the flank. Yeah, so it's not new to him anymore. And one of the things that I see that is beautiful is, because he has also played as a wide winger, is somebody that when we have our fullback who wants to play as our right wing back, can invert and come into the 10 position, and they have a good relationship with Jarrod Bowen, and that person Jarrod Bowen start moving outside, and the fullback start moving inside. So there can be changes, because Jarrod Bowen is a player who also likes to go to the byline. Not so much, but he has the varieties in his box to either want to come inside or go to the byline to make something out of the play. Yeah, so I think he brings that. And Also, relationship with Jarrod Bowen. You have seen relationship with Sufa, with Suchek, with Antonio, with the new striker that they have, with Wan Bissaka. He is a player who thrives on having good relationship with player on the pitch. That's, you see how he combines and go back to helps his right back. Sometimes you see how he links up with his striker. Sometimes you see how he goes to claim the second ball when the striker has won the first ball or lost the first ball. You see him combining and doing all of these things with his teammates, which is something that if you look at somebody at Chelsea, who plays that wing in the person of somebody like Pedro Neto. I think that's one of the things that we suffer from somebody like Pedro Neto, the relationship. When you look at Pedro Neto and Malo Gusto, you can't really say they have a good relationship with themselves on the pitch. There is no synergy. Pedro Neto is kind of more like an isolated player. He wants you to give him the ball and let him go and do anything he wants to do with it. And you look at him with the number 10, I don't think there is a relationship of switching here and there, like something you see with Kopama and Estevao, where Kopama plays as the number 10 and Estevao plays as the wide winger. And then sometimes you see Estevao in the 10 and Kopama as the wide winger. I think with Jarrod Bowen, you get more like that also. And he can also link up with his striker because he has played as a shadow striker, as a supporting striker in this period in his Premier League era. Yeah, so I think there are a whole lot that he brings into the game. So let's look at what worries about Jarrod Bowen. I think firstly is his age. He's 29 years, and according to scientists' statistic for footballers, a player is in his last period, in his last year of his peak period. Of his prime is 28, of his peak period of his peak period is 29. So I think he's burning his last flame. That's something that worries for you. And when the player burns their last flame, comes out of their peak period, everything that they do reduces intensity. The only thing is that they get heightened tactically, awareness and all of those kind of things, because they are now veterans. They are experienced so much. But the point is, if we are buying this guy based on some kind of, all right, he can give us the tracking back, he has the leg to do the off the ball work, he can help us in transition, he's a trigger press, he can help us to do the pressing, the gang pressing, looking at it in context to Xabi Alonso's system. When it crossover into the new period of his life, when he gets to 30 and is going to 31, you know that we will stop seeing these things. So what's next at those points in time? Are we going to be crying to let him go and look for somebody else? I think that's one of the things that worry me. And also his footballing orientation. Jarrod Bowen, looking at his career, he thrived majorly under the coaches that played counter-attacking football. Yeah, be it David Moyes, his counter-attacking is get the ball, send it to Jarrod Bowen, let him run, get up front, find a player to pass to or go score himself. Nuno Espirito, compact, but it's kind of counter-attack is in the blend between counter-attacking and transition-based football. Sometimes they have the ball, they bring you deep into their game, and then they explode, and Jarrod Bowen running, going on to create something out of it. So I'm looking at that orientation because that basically means he has played majorly as a player who is going to be sitting back, and when they are playing, he's going to be having a whole lot of space in behind to run into. But now that he's going to, if eventually Chelsea signs him, he's going to be playing majorly of the time, because Chelsea is going to play as a highly possession-based team. He's going to be playing looking at players in front of him. Then what happened at this point in time? I think those are the things that bothers me. Those are the things that worries me, because you can thrive so much when all you have is enormous space to run into. But the point is, when you are looking at flood of players in front of you, and your blueprint is basically to run into space, now that you're not seeing any space, what can you call upon? Like, what are you going to be? Like, these are questions that we need to ask ourselves. So it's as much as you're looking at the good part of his game and you're like, okay, let's get this guy. But the point is, how about this other side? Is this something that we can put up with? Is it not like it will get to a point where it's just lost? When they give him the ball, it's kind of like he's just running into player and hitting brick walls, and there's nothing he can do about it. And then times goes 2 matches, 3 matches, 4 matches, and he starts to lose confidence, and we begin to ask the question, is this the right guy for this club? Why did we even bring him? If we know he's a transition-based player, if we know he's a counter-attacking kind of attacker, why then do we bring him into a possession-based footballing team? So these are my thoughts on Jarrod Bowen. But if you ask me, I think I want him at the club, given the kind of output that he brings. I think he brings a different dynamic compared to the kind of player that we have in the person of Pedro Neto, in the relationship, in being able to go out wide and come inside, in being instinctive enough that when he's in front of goal to take shots and do all of those things, and also have relationship with his striker, have relationship with his central midfielder, with his right back, those kind of things, and more experience compared to all of the other guys that we have there. They might be the young Shagro, the shining thing, but this one, very direct, good work rates, very good guy. I think if you ask me, if we can get him for 35 million, I think it's not a bad deal to sign. So guys, these are my thoughts on Chelsea's transfer. Yeah, so I don't know what you think about all of these things that we have said. This Cucurella, Enzo Fernandez, Valentino Bacco, Jarrod Bowen, Pedro Neto. Please put it in the comment section. Let's discuss about it. Let's know your thoughts about Chelsea going in for these guys and Chelsea trying to sell these guys that we have in the club. So thank you very much. This is the Blue Box brought to you by Vertical Football. Till we see you some other time. Nah, must stay.